guys, welcome back to Racing Insider Bets. It's Josh here again, as we do Friday and Saturday. You know the drill, looking for value tips in the market, and we're going to be focused on obviously the December meeting, at Cheltenham, and also two tips, bit more up north, a bit further up the motorway, Hereford, same side of the country, but I'll go a bit off piece as well. Seen a few I like the look of there, so yeah, we'll get cracking with that. So I just want to reflect quickly on Friday's action at Cheltenham. The cards, honestly, this whole meeting is shocking, and Doncaster's pretty poor as well. The big boys aren't really coming to the fore, and you'd think by now, December time, you'd have sort of these races kind of looking a bit more meaty. But it's a shame at the moment. It's how it is. Obviously, the weather hasn't been on the side of most trainers, so just start waiting and see, and hopefully in the new year we get some high class races. But anyway, yeah, so Friday, obviously, the first one, Eva's Oscar ran really well for us, 11-1. I recommended him. He ran up second, really close second, just behind the favourite. I thought we had him in the straight, jumped perfectly all the way around, and sort of jumps his way into contention right at the second last and pinged the last, and I was thinking, away we go, and then the favourite just sort of swerved him up on the rail. He had to stop, switch back, go on the inside, make the running, on the outside, sorry, make the running up, and then the horse fucking comes back and pushes him all the way to the standside rail. So it's like, what's going on there? I think it's really poor horsemanship from the jockey. Needs to control his horse better, and it did go to obviously the stewards, and I think had the winning distance been less than 2 lengths, it would have been a length, I think we would have got the decision, because it was really poor riding. Honestly, it was really poor. If you actually watch it, it's shocking. Professionals, you should be doing better than that. You've got to keep your horse at least somewhat straight. That was appalling, but obviously it was the 2 lengths. You can't really argue, can you? If it was a length, I think you had a bit more of a shout. You might have had a shout there of getting an 11-1 winner on the board straight away, but hey, we got the each way value there, and so a bit of money came in, and then we moved on to the next race. Puxatawny Phil, 9-1. I put him up, was gambled in. I think went off 9-2, pretty much half the price exactly. At the day, second favourite, and just didn't run any kind of race at all for about a mile and 6 furlongs. Didn't want to be there. Looked like he wanted to be in the yard at home, just chilling. Fair enough to him, but I mean, he just didn't want to go. He was right out the back. Didn't look anywhere keen. Just didn't look any type of keen to jump a hurdle or anything. And it showed, obviously, gave himself way much, and he switched on coming into the home straight. You saw him pass pretty much the whole field. He ended up finishing 5th somehow. Unbelievable, right? Like, shows the talent he's got, and you might want to step him up and trip again, because he clearly can stay. But I mean, he just didn't want to be there. If he actually switched on, I think he would have at least got a place. But he just didn't care for about 80% of the race. So he came in his own bend, saw the crowd, and was really like, all right, we'll actually try now. And he ran up to sort of pick up the pieces and finish 5th. So not brilliant, but what can you do? That's how it goes sometimes. So sometimes horses don't want to play ball, and it's an animal at the end of the day. So it makes their mind. He didn't want to run properly. Didn't want to run, and he shows he's got talent though. I think right at the end there in the final straight. But yeah, no, I definitely want to keep the notebook, because he could be winning races very, very, very soon, I reckon. And but not today. It's what you get when you tip in bigger horses. And then we move on to Rose of Arcadia, who it was a bad tip. I put my hands up. It was not a good tip. Thought she would take to the bigger obstacles a bit better than she was. She didn't look particularly comfortable. Jumped. You could tell the way she was jumping, and just wasn't 100% smooth over them all. And that she showed her ability. She was sort of the fact she was there or thereabouts, turning for home, showed that she's got a bit of something. But she just needed a bit more schooling, I think, over the bigger stuff. And I thought contest would have her ready, and clearly she wasn't 100% that day for over the bigger stuff. So as far it goes, and it was a bad tip. I held my hands up, didn't read the market right, and completely messed up there. So that's on me, obviously. And what can you do? It wasn't the best day, but at least we got really close with Eva's Oscar. Anyway, so moving on to the Saturday's action, and again, by this is I haven't meant to do this at all. All the all the horses I've picked run within an hour of each other. So the first one we'll start off with, the 1:15 at Cheltenham, is the Simon Classy Handicap Chase. It's a Class 2 over 2 miles. At the moment the ground's getting softer. I don't know whether the rain will come tonight at Cheltenham. Hopefully maybe it'll get a bit softer, but we'll see. And that would really, really aid our selection at Cheddleton. 6-1, I think, is a big price for Cheltenham, if you're asking me. Front two in the market are Editor Juliet and Amula Gold. Obviously, Editor Juliet won up in the November meeting. I was on him that day. Ran really, really good race, but he's up £7 for that, and he only won by, what was it, a neck to Stolen Silver, who didn't really frank that form in the Henry VIII. I know it was a Grade 1, but wasn't insanely impressive. So I just think he's up a little bit too much in the weights to be as effective. I mean, he obviously gets a £5 claim from Narhulhan, but 11th fall is a bit short if you ask me for Editor Juliet. I think he's a little bit vulnerable off the market, and I do like him, but I think he's just a tiny bit vulnerable. So hopefully we're aim to take him on. And obviously Amula Gold, I think, is a bit of an Ascot specialist. Really, form lines at Cheltenham stink. Is a really solid horse at Ascot, and might prove me wrong, but at the moment, nothing tells me that he can handle sort of the Cheltenham track at this moment in time. Maybe he will come on for it, but you never know. But I'd stick to him as a bit of an Ascot specialist. So Cheddleton 6-1. Trainer Jenny Candish, smaller yard, and the jockey is Sean Quelan. Now Cheddleton here is an improving chaser. He won 2 Class 2s last season at Carlisle and Haydock, and that was on heavy and soft ground, so he really does like it when there's a bit of cut, and that's really only where he's been campaigned on. I don't think he's ever really run on anything that's soft, that's better ground than good soft, and I think he's only run good soft once. So he really does want a bit of juice in the ground, and hopefully we'll get some rain, and that will kind of play into his strengths. He was third in Grade 2 at Warwick, was pretty far off the pace there, but that was at the end of the season. And then he reappeared at Carlisle in November in a Class 2, and the form from that, he came third in it. Form from that was Warlord first and Manila Drama was second. And they both ran in the Henry VIII. And obviously Manila Drama was fifth, wasn't particularly impressive. I did tip him up, and that was my mistake. But Warlord ran a very, very, very game second to Edwardstone, and I think it was about 10 lengths down, but still was the best of the rest really there. Beat third unlucky, so that's some decent form. I think it's been pretty well franked. And I just think Cheddleton's got a real chance here. He's off exactly the same mark as he was from that last ride. I think he won second time out last season. So they campaigned him. I think they campaigned him pretty much similarly. He needed to. I think he needed the run at Carlisle, and I think he'll come on for it. And if he, as I said, he won his last start. He won his second start last season. I think he'll hopefully be going to do the same. I think, as I said, the top of the market is a little bit weak, and I think he's got a chance here. A solid hurdling career. He came third in Grade 2 at Kelso in 2020 in February, and then he switched to chasing, and obviously has been pretty impressive and progressive throughout. So I think Cheddleton 6-1, slightly overvalued in the market. I think that's a play. I'd probably be going WinBet, but obviously there'll be places about. So maybe if you want to play a bit more cautious and go each way, and you probably get some chump change from that as well as stake back. So Cheddleton 6-1 in the 1:15 at Cheltenham is my first selection for Saturday's action. And then we move 7 minutes later. So basically, Cheltenham race will pretty much finish, and you've got to switch over to the racing TV, and it's at the 1:22 at Hereford, at the Royal Equestrian Bedding Mares Handicap chase. It's a Class 2 over 3 miles 1 furlong, and the ground is forecast to be good. Now, looking at the weather forecast, actually, it's meant to absolutely piss it down all day at Hereford, so hopefully that'll at least go sort of good to soft after. So it is meant to piss it down all mornings from 8 o'clock till sort of sun goes down. So hopefully there'll be a bit of juice in the ground, and it will get a bit softer. Because my selection here is No No Juliet. It's Fergal O'Brien trained with Peter Kavanagh getting the mount. He's 11-1 at the moment. Sorry, she is 11-1 at the moment. She was third in this last year, and was only down 4 lengths on the eventual winner, who's certainly the favourite in the market for this. I'm just going to get her name up. That is Kappa de Lily, who actually ended up beating, on reappearance at Ascot, beating Eva's Oscar, funnily enough. So obviously she's a really strong form, but she's coming off massively top rate. She's massively top weight. She's off one. She's 130 on the rating. She's going off 12 stone 8. I think everything else in the race is basically below 98, apart from No Juliet, who's going off 107. And obviously Peter Kavanagh's got a £7 claim. I think it was one of the best claims out there. Fergal O'Brien, obviously, he was in really good form to start the season, has kind of wilted away a little bit over the last 2 weeks, but I think he's holding some horses back, hopefully, and we can get some more winners on the board. But Peter Kavanagh's strike rate at the moment is 25%. He's going. I think he's won 4 of 16. He's looked really. He's obviously. I think he's a very good claim, and I think she's definitely got a chance here, running off a really solid mark. We'll end off going off 10 stone 6. So that is a pretty low weight compared to the favourite. Basically, carrying almost 2 stone less. Well, 1.5 stone less. And that could have a part to play. Obviously, third in this last year was only 4 lengths down on her, and 4 lengths, with the weights, that gives us a chance, I think. It's been campaigned exactly the same as she was last season for the race. So she had a prep race at Chepstow in November. Wasn't particularly impressive, but I think did need the run. And it was shown last year, she ran exactly the same race at Chepstow and needed a run. So I think she came 6th in this one and 4th in the one last year, and basically looked like she needed a run to get her sort of going for the season, and then progressed into the second one. So I think she's a really interesting prospect. She's down to her last winning mark of 107, and also with the claim on top of that, it's over 100. So she's well in at the weights. And I just think if the rain hits and the ground is softer, she will love that. The best form is over softer ground, and will be a really interesting selection. I think she's a little bit overvalued personally at 11-1. As Fergal O'Brien is a top trainer, and Keith Kavanagh is one of the best claim variants out there, I think. So I think we've got a chance there with no Juliet running as a big race, and hopefully running sort of keeping a good run from money at least. So that's no Juliet in the 122 at Hereford. Move on again, back down to Cheltenham in the 150, the Racing Post Gold Cup handicap chase. That's again the Catherine Kavanagh Gold Cup. Obviously, Anti-Post tipped Midnight Shadow for this, and I'm sticking obviously with my guns there. I think Midnight Shadow will definitely run a big race again in this. I tipped him up at I think it was 8-1, maybe a little bit juicier than that. Anti-Post is now into 7s. Obviously, won over course and distances. It's one of the top race horses in the race. I've said it all before. Won the Paddy Power Gold Cup pretty convincingly. Beat Dostal, Phil, and Lalois, who's top of the market. I think beat him in a way that suggests that he is a better horse, and obviously Steve Smith and Ryan Mania are a good team, and they know how to get the best tune out of Midnight Shadow, and I think they'll do it again. I love Cheltenham, and was second in this race last year, so I won't spend too much time. But Midnight Shadow, obviously 7-1. I've got a ticket in for sort of 8-1 on Anti-Post, so Midnight Shadow in the Gold Cup handicap chase here. I think we'll definitely run a big race, and hopefully can go back to back at Cheltenham for November and December. So we're going to move on then again now. Rapid fire. 7 minutes after that, Hereford had planned this perfectly, haven't they? They know what they're doing. So in the 157, the Kazoo handicap hurdle was a class 2 over 2 miles and 4 furlongs. Obviously, with the forecast ground is good. I've got a win bet here. Hopefully, the win bet performs better than Saturday's win bet, and that's Seddon. Seddon 4-1. Is Harry Whittington trained with Peter Kavanagh getting the mount? Peter Kavanagh obviously claimed 7. Can you tell I like him because I've tipped 2 of his mounts back to back. Hopefully, fingers crossed for a double in a day for Pete. But back you, big boy. Back you, mate. I know you got it, because I think you're going to run up nicely on no Juliet, and I think you're going to pit it up with Seddon 4-1. Obviously, I think the rain will help. Does like a bit of juice in the ground again, and obviously doing a bit of rain dance. I think it will come down. Obviously, it's meant to forecast to come down pretty heavily in Hereford. all day tomorrow, so that shouldn't be really a problem. He's a front runner, won last night at Lingfield very nicely. Peter Kavanagh, obviously. If you look at Peter Kavanagh's claim, it's a 7. Seddon went up 6 in the six in the ratings, so went up £6. But then he's claimed 7, so it's actually going off £1 lower than he was last time because Harry Cobden rode him last time. So still well in, still will definitely have a chance. He switched back to hurdles from last season. Obviously, last season he ran over the bigger stuff and wasn't particularly impressive. But yeah, he ran off. He's ran off a rating like this before and ran up pretty nicely in his previous hurdling career in 2019. Ran off 138 when he came third in Grade 2 at Cheltenham and also Grade 2 at Ascot. They were both Supreme Novice hurdle trial races. So obviously, I think this horse has showed a lot of potential in the past, and I think can definitely do so again. And was also third in a Grade 2 Holloway hurdle hurdle at Ascot. So has some Grade 2 and Grade 3 placed form, and stepping back down really in a grade to stepping back down in class to class 2, I think will be well in, especially with the weights and especially having that run at Lingfield and switching to being a front runner looked really effective. So Peter Kavanagh, I know for a fact, can run off the front well. As I said, I like him as a jockey, and I think he'll do as nicely, and hopefully we can do a little bit better than we did today. So yeah, guys, that's everything from me today. I really appreciate you guys watching and obviously supporting the channel. Please like and subscribe and follow the Instagram page if you're enjoying the stuff. There'll be more more stuff out obviously next week, and see you again. If you have any sort of fancies, feel free to put them down in the comments and berate me for having an absolute stinker today, because it wasn't brilliant, was it? But anyway, really appreciate you guys, and come on, Peter, I believe in you, big boy. Let's go.